accounts or personalities on such things. But hey, I mean, if you really hate that game, why are you still here? That's what I say.
Spitting. So anyways, we're going to be dipping in the losers here. This is going to be losers quarterfinals featuring Rivers and Goblin, which is actually a really good set to have here. And these guys will be fighting it out to see who's moving on and who's taking 5th place. Both of them residing in Florida right now. Rivers, formerly a New Jersey resident, but currently living in Florida for the internets.
Yeah, just for the internets, I suppose, and currently rocking with the Goblin Ike. I haven't seen. I personally have not casted a Wi-Fi tournament that had Goblin in quite some time. I've never seen this Ike personally. I know he's much more known for the Roy for sure, and whatever that tournament in Florida was going to be, unless like that was Cola, I don't remember. Point is, here he's at. We got Goblin out here with the Ike, and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Rivers? He didn't play against an Ike recently. It wasn't at the DNA.
So
I might be I'm thinking of Mr. E. I'm thinking of Mr. E when he played against Yez at.
You're not far off, man. Actually, Rivers does bump into some Ikes. Was playing this character a little bit as a huge Fire Emblem buff, but most recently you can find Rivers playing against one of the best Ikes ever in Yez, playing against Raven King quite a bit. I believe, I forget, one of the hit point on lines, if not both of them, because there's always a lot of Ike presence there. So this is a matchup that Rivers is really familiar with and has effectively grinded out on a high level. You could actually find them. These VODs will end up on VGBootCamp most likely. If you want to go search through VGBootCamp's catalog, you'll find them right now. Yez, who was in this bracket and did drop to Goblin just in the set before this. It does look like Goblin did go Roy for that. Yeah, has played against that like successfully and has proven victorious. But honestly, Goblin's Ike is probably a lot different than the optimal Ike, as I believe this is a newer character for him.
Yeah, he did go Ike against Aklo before. I mean, for at least one of those games, because he also picked out Roy in that set. And it's funny, because to go back to Rivers here, I feel like I think this is like normally the kind of matchup that he typically prefers Chrom in, you know, like just to deal with that disjoint a little bit better, because in this matchup against a disjoint is huge and heavy and hard hitting his Ikes, Diddy can definitely combo Ike to pieces, right, once he's in. So that's the scary part, is picking what buttons. I feel like Rivers has got to play a lot more disciplined in a matchup like this rather than Chrom.
So I do think that like if we were offline, everything you're saying is pretty good, because a lot of where Ultimate Online suffers is in the reaction times being essentially, if you're a player with good reaction times, which Rivers is, you're essentially nerfed by some of the frame delay. So it means you got to play a little bit different. So Chrom is very reactionary, Rivers is very good at those combo strings. However, when you have more time to react to things, in this sort of setting, it becomes very dangerous, because as you know, Chrom's disadvantage state is just so terrible as is, let alone online, where the recoveries they're tough, man, because if you're Ike, all you really have to do is sit there, like, you know, swing your sword a little bit at the ledge or spam counter, and that's a dead Chrom off stage. So I think Diddy provides just a lot more flexibility in terms of not only recovery, but just being able to mix up some movements when you can't always count on the connection always being the most stable for your reactions.
You know, it's so funny thinking of that happening like to characters that aren't Ike by Ike.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's so funny thinking
man.
about Ike countering that move after all these years of Ike being in the game. But hey, just the name of Smash if you would. And yeah, Diddy at the very least, you know, if he's able to just keep himself disciplined enough in this matchup, not press too many buttons and eat too many meaty hitboxes on the part of Ike. If he's patient enough, I feel like he can rock it pretty well, as that forward air does take the stock. Diddy can rock the mid-range pretty well against Ike, but the thing is, it's that it's not even just rocking the mid-range. He's got a micro space in that space pretty well, because that's a big, big sword. You're looking at it on screen right now on the part of Goblin with that Ike. It's just, I feel like in this matchup, Diddy has really just got to watch his swinging a little bit more, because I got to tell you, Rivers is like the king of making this character look easy, but trust me, he's making decisions like every second of his gameplay.
Absolutely.
And pretty much every interaction as these things go on, man. Every monkey flip, every forward air, every combo that you see, he is thinking about those interactions just very like a quick microsecond at a time. We'll take a look at this play right here.
Yeah, man, Aether definitely in line for most improved moves in the game after that patch, and it really is. It's really changed the character, man. Ike is a really good character just having that out of shield now. It's a reliable kill move. You don't even need to confirm. You just need to wait for an unsafe option or someone overhead, and you got yourself a stop. But here we go. You called it, Nintunis. We are going to see Chrom, maybe some you know, a little bit of comfort or familiarity when it comes to Rivers in this matchup. I guess we're going to find out. Everything I was saying earlier, still on the table. But, you know, again, Rivers is really a master of this character, so we might be seeing some really good strings. But Goblin's playing really pretty, a lot better than you would expect for a character that isn't really the main.
And a character that does not play very similarly as well. You know, like, everybody who hasn't played the game and everybody who, like, likes to generalize it or say, the Fire Emblem characters took my Geno spot, that's why Geno not in the game, you know, like, no, they're not the same character. They're not all Marth. They all play very differently from each other. Ike and Roy? You kidding? They're like polar opposites in terms of like how they actually play. Is that up B out of shield gonna take the stock right there? The ether, like you said, most improved. That is slow, strong, and meaty hitboxes. Whereas Roy, still meaty, but he'll mash in your face no problem. As we have the Echo Fighter of Roy right here to try and solve the Ike problem with just that going in. No more Diddy out here. Now he's got a disjoint to be able to contest with this one on his own. But as you mentioned earlier, Chris, he's just got to watch himself off the level right here. That counter, pretty exploitable. Ooh, but that recovery, very exploitable, but same thing on the other way around. Forward smash gonna take the stock, Chris.
Yeah, you never want to roll in for Rivers. He's got that, especially playing Chrom, he's got that F smash on, you know, basically on tap at all moments. And again, very good reactions from Rivers in general. So is gonna at least be able to even things up enough. Goblin's just been off to such a fast start. Rivers definitely has the hands full. We even got to watch the Ike kill Diddy off stage. So, I mean, Chrom definitely in a bad position. So we're gonna have to see Rivers win a lot of neutral here, and at the moment, as I said, Goblin just playing pretty airtight, but Rivers has overtaken a little bit of a lead, albeit narrowly, and only for a moment. So both these guys pretty much at one stray hit from losing the second stock.
Goblin is doing such a wonderful job as that dash attack does not take the stock. Goblin's doing such a wonderful job at picking apart Rivers whenever he's in the air. Every single time. You mentioned that Chrom disadvantage beforehand, and just like the first stock, tit for tat, right back at you with the jab to the back air, the jair, as the cool kids call it, I suppose.
Yep.
God, I hate that.
I haven't heard that in a while, man. I'm glad you mentioned it.
I'm upset that I mentioned it. I only did it because it
just kind of
semi-politically correct. Let's go with that.
It just kind of rolls off the tongue, unfortunately. Yeah. So let's see what Rivers can do here. If not, Goblin perhaps moving on 2-0. Although this is the position you definitely want to be in either one of these guys' shoes on the ledge. Other one, you know, basically standing over the ledge as the other one tries to recover. Yep, that's going to be a counter. That is this matchup in a nutshell. Both these guys do that to each other, and it's not fun, but well, depending who you are. I'm sure if you're Rivers, you're definitely taking those. And the reality is yeah, you could have easily seen that happen the other way around.
It sort of tests your empathy a little bit, you know what I mean? And sort of tests your sympathy because, like, you're doing the same thing to others that gets done to you, but as we all know, you'll get no sympathy from Ike. So you know that he's going to fall down there, and Chrom's not going to give that same thing back to him. Beautiful roll read right there to take advantage of him out of the corner. Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, definitely do not want to be rolling against the big, strong disjoint that is Chrom's smash attacks for sure. You got to watch your tech chase situations, especially against Rivers Chrom, man. He is so good at chasing you down into the punch off of a missed tech or just off of a tech read in general. And when you're a very slow character like Ike, it's just going to get eaten alive even more, especially when you're as big as he is too. This might be the momentum shift that he needs, but oh boy, this is bad. This is actually not good for Rivers at all.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally a counter pick, and honestly, I bet you Goblin was counting on this to some ends. Once he got game one, that's, you know, you're guaranteed at least another game where you could either keep trying to use that Ike, which has been looking honestly really sharp, all things considered, or you go to the main, and we are going to be seeing the main. So I haven't really seen this particular matchup play out in some time just because of the lack of Chrom presence online for obvious reasons. And honestly, you don't even see that many Roys. Roy a little bit more reliable online, if not just for the sword dance move, because that move will kill you probably at the percent Rivers is at right now. I hope
it's literally limit cross slash.
Okay. Woo! So, but I will tell you this, you'll also, if you tune into Rivers' streams, you'll see plenty of Chrom Dittos and Roys in there. So I'm going to go ahead and say that at the very least for him, not an uncomfortable position as far as matchups go. But we'll see it. We'll see if that plays a role, man.
You're going to be the best Chrom player in the world. You're going to have some followers who are going to want to pick up in your steed. You know, Rivers patents that, like, wave bounce side B in the air to get out of disadvantage perfectly because they know how bad Chrom's disadvantage is out of the air. So he's got to do whatever options he can to make his way back out. And as far as this counter pick goes, it's really going to matter how Rivers is going to be able to get to the punch. Because up close, if he loses those interactions, Roy's kill power is going to help out him just a little bit more than it's going to do Chrom. Imagine it's just the same character, pretty much general same mobility, except one is just so much stronger than the other, and Goblin can counter Chrom's up B out of the air. Not that it matters if Rivers is beating him to the punch every time. The Ike was doing such a good job keeping him at disadvantage. Might be wondering if this switch was a little bit rash just after that one last kill in Game 2, Chris.
You know, it kind of fooled me because I think there's just always that comfort of like, okay, I'm going my main now, I feel good. But like, this is the thing, and maybe I'm a little guilty of this too, where, and you won't hear this very often, but you almost underestimate a little bit Rivers in a sense when you see this character come out. You know, it's not very good online, and you hear all these things. You see the Panic Global chart. I believe it's Panic Global that basically tells you the popularity of characters and their results, Chrom literally being like the worst character. So that stuff is enough to get in your head, but then you watch the way Rivers plays, even the way he's fading his recoveries and air dodging off the level, as you say, and we're really mixing things up. And, you know, this is something that I don't know if Goblin was necessarily prepared for, because it plays out like a Ditto, but the properties of these characters are different enough where it changes things, because Chrom doesn't have any sour spots. That's a big difference in these characters. So the stray hits count a lot more for Chrom than they do for Roy. Meanwhile, though, I mean, Roy does have similar combo potential as Chrom, just not quite the same because that sword does hit just a little bit different.
Yeah, and he's getting into cheeky Roy rage kill territory, especially with that side B if he gets caught by the ledge. Rivers is definitely going to utilize that mobility of Chrom to the best of his ability, and as you mentioned, Chrom not as popular on Wi-Fi anymore. You can think of Mr. R not playing the character as much as well, who is just about another one of the greatest Chroms to really do it, but now he's off the level! No counter coming out from the part of Goblin, but it's not going to matter. He's going to be able to get that double-edged dance once again as that neutral B is going to take the stock. I thought he dropped his opportunity to kill him right there, but maybe so did Rivers, but then again, no.
Yeah, dude, that's the classic Rivers, and that is the reason why you'll find this guy coaching and giving people lessons for, you know, honestly a pretty fair amount, because he's smart enough to recognize your habits, know if he should jump off and just aerial you, or if he should just patiently wait and then take a swing when it's ready, and that's literally what he did. He just kind of stood there, said, hey, I know you're going to air dodge, I know you're panicking and get back to the ledge, and then he just F-tilts. You know, it's one of those things that's not your common, like, you don't see that commonly in a lot of players, like just the overall patience and really hitting the buttons exactly where you need to hit them. That is what top players are, and Goblin's very much a top player. But I think in this particular case, Rivers just sort of, I mean, he knows, he's familiar with the matchup, and I think he just was sort of knew, ooh, that's the wrong clip. He just kind of knew what you call it, what Goblin was going to do. Sorry, I'm like all distracted here, hitting too many buttons.
Yeah,
too many levers and pulleys on my end, that's all.
I was tweeting out the Strim Stram again.